Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Crescent Sound podcast, where I give you a platform to express your struggle stories. You can either email me your stories on thecrescentsound@gmail.com and I present them on the podcast for you, or I can have you come on as a guest on the podcast and you can tell your story by yourself. Anyways, I'm your host, Luna, and let's begin with today's episode. Hi everyone, welcome to the 12th episode for the Crescent Sound. And today I have another guest, and I know there have been a lot of guests recently. That's because honestly, just having guests is fun, alright? Like, talking to another person is way more fun than like reading out a story. I still like doing that because I like hearing my audience out. So, whatever works for you, whatever you're comfortable with, works for me. But yes, anyways, now that I said that we do have a guest, I would like to welcome a friend of mine. So this is Diva. So hi Diva, how are you doing today?
Hello, Luna. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Okay, that's good, that's good. Okay. So would you like to tell the audience a bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Diva. I'm 25 years old and I'm from Darjeeling. And I recently completed my MA and working as a content writer.
Oh, okay, that's really cool. I think you're the oldest person that's been on this podcast. But
I
that's
hope,
fine.
I hope
That's
that's not a problem.
Oh my god, no, it's not a problem. You sound like the youngest, okay? Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's cool, we have an experienced person who's, older than the others, so it gives us a new perspective on, life, I guess. But yeah, I guess we can directly go jump into the topic for today. So, Diva, what would you like to tell us about today?
Well, I'm a pretty chill person. I would say, people often describe me as polite and kind, but I think I have a problem. Well,
Okay.
everybody has one, but yeah.
Yeah, well, what might this problem be?
Well, I'm a very introverted person,
Oh.
and, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
my best friend has, on occasion described me as a people pleaser. Yeah, so, and because I feel like I have trouble speaking up or speaking out against people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just feel very anxious about whenever I have to speak up or confront other people, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a problem.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand. Like, it's definitely a problem, and I'm also quite introverted myself. I feel like it's definitely getting lesser. Like, I'm talking to people more, but that feeling of an introvert, like you want to keep to yourself, just want to stay in your room all day. I get that.
Mm,
And being a
yeah.
people pleaser, I think that's quite common nowadays. Like, considering at least in like an Indian setting, being a people pleaser is pretty, common because that's what's expected of you as a child, right?
Yes, yes. So as a child, I've always been a quiet kid. Whenever my friends used to go out to play, I stay inside my room or inside the classroom, just reading a book or drawing or something like that. So, from my very childhood, I've been a really quiet and introverted kid. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, my parents, they instilled this idea upon me to always be quiet, never, speak out, never get into trouble,
Mm-hmm.
always follow the rules, keep your head down, don't try to, ruffle any feathers, and, do things by the books and things like that. Um, and by the way, I was in a boarding school, so they put me in a
Mm-hmm.
boarding school, and
Oh,
those
okay.
were the rules that I lived by. Yeah, I don't know if you have any experience in a boarding school, do you?
I do not have any experience in a boarding school, but I can't imagine it's the most pleasant thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, it has its pros and cons. You make a bunch of friends, or you meet a lot of people from, all sorts of places or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, yeah, it can be a lonely experience because you're so far away from home and far away from your loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so when I found myself in this strange environment with all these strangers, I followed my parents' advice to keep my head down, to not, speak out and try to be
Mm-hmm.
visible and try to be this troublemaker and engage in pranks or things like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I also had a very hard time connecting with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not have a lot of friends. Um, I mean, I did have friends, but we were not very close, mostly
Mm-hmm.
classmates. And like I said, whenever they used to go out to play, I used to be inside the classroom, just
Mm-hmm.
reading or just doing things on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when they used to, engage in fights or pranks or things like that, I used to never be a part of it because I wanted to, keep my head down and not get into trouble, just like my
Mm-hmm.
parents wanted me to.
I mean,
Yeah, but
when
yeah.
oh, sorry. But I was just gonna say, like, I mean, like, you had like these strict rules, right? I mean, did you ever disobey them, and did that cause like a serious like backlash that caused you to not go against what they were saying?
Well, I wouldn't say I did it consciously or um like for example, if I ever like whenever I was punished, it was more collective, like
Mm-hmm.
as part of my class. So like if a majority of people from my class did something, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
make a noise or play a prank, then the whole class used to be punished. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously I was punished at that time, but I as an individual, for my individual like things, I never got punished because I never actually broke any rules by
Mm-hmm.
myself on my own. So whenever I was punished, it was, part of a collective punishment
Oh,
with all the
okay.
other people.
I see. I see. And I
Yes.
mean, earlier you mentioned that you can't really form like connections with a lot of people easily. Do you think it's also because of your people pleasing?
Perhaps, but I think that is more as an adult. I mean, when not as a kid, because I don't think that. I mean, I did not have this concept about being a, you know, people
People
pleaser and
pleaser.
all that. So
Mm-hmm.
perhaps I did it unconsciously. But
Mm-hmm.
as kids, it was difficult to make connections because, like I was just so different. People did not understand me. And as
Mm-hmm.
kids, you don't have a lot of, um, you don't have the tools to understand. You're not emotionally or intellectually developed enough to, understand somebody's
Mm-hmm.
differences.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when you're
I
a
agree.
kid, yeah, you can just be cruel or you're just judgmental.
Mm-hmm. I mean, were you ever bullied in school?
Yeah, a little bit initially by like a lot of older people, I would say, like the older students. And
Mm-hmm.
there used to be, well, I wouldn't call it bullying, but at the same time, this might just be my people pleasing tendencies kicking in or something like that. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I did used to get like remarks from my friends or classmates, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't take that as bullying. I just take
Okay.
that as good fun or mocking or something like that. Perhaps a therapist might say something different. They might say that, oh, that was bullying, but
I mean,
um,
no. It's how
yeah,
you perceive it that matters more. If you don't think it's bullying, then it's not bullying. Because at the end of the day, it matters if it hurt you rather than if it's supposed to hurt like anyone else. You know what I mean? Like
hooray,
like your friends, they're gonna be mean to you as like a form of love, right? Like my best friend, she's always
hooray.
mean to me, but it's like her love language. So I guess like that's not really bullying. But I mean, like getting
Right.
made fun of by like your seniors or something like that. That's definitely a
Yeah,
little
so
bit.
that did happen. Yeah, I was bullied by my seniors, but then
Mm-hmm.
that gradually stopped as the years went by and the seniors passed out and I became the senior, or I
Mm-hmm.
like rose up like the
Mm-hmm.
classes or whatever.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's that's good. That's good. And I mean, these problems that you've come to discuss here, do you feel that you've made any progress in them? Or are you healing? Like, what do you feel like?
I like to think I have made progress. But I mean, like I said, as an adult, those things that that was taught as a child or that I did as a child, I definitely feel its effect now
Mm-hmm.
because I don't feel like speaking up or speaking out against people when I'm in
Mm-hmm.
an uncomfortable situation. I I would rather just keep quiet and endure it because I don't want to be bothersome. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to be that person who makes a scene or who wants to cause trouble. That's
Mm-hmm.
the way I grew up. That was
Mm-hmm.
what was instilled in me.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, now um I want people to like me. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I never speak out when I'm uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to upset them.
Yeah.
I want them to like me. I don't want to be a bother. And again, and when it comes to, let's say, authoritative figures like an employer or a teacher or a professor or any sort of person who is in a position of power, I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like dread whenever I
Mm-hmm.
have to go talk to them. And even if it's not a serious discussion, I always feel anxious, engaging in a conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's something that I'm trying to unlearn, and I try to be brave and all that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's definitely a very complicated process that
Yeah,
needs a lot of time.
it's definitely gonna need a lot of time. But it's good that you've recognized that it exists and you're working to fix it. Like most people don't even know that they're doing this and they don't know that it's detrimental towards them. Most people are like, oh yeah, I'm just like, a good person. No, you're not a good person. You're a people pleaser. So,
Right.
yeah, you can't be happy yourself pleasing everyone. So, you have to learn to like prioritize your own happiness before going after other people's happiness. And you can never make everyone happy. Like that's
Right.
that's one thing that we all know, but it's hard to like actually sort of instill in us, right? Because as humans, or I mean as people pleasers, I should say, we have this like tendency to still sort of serve,
Right.
so
And I also feel this guilt, like if I say no to something, or
mm-hmm,
if I speak up and I say, I want to do this, or I don't want to do this, or whatever it is that
mm-hmm,
I'm feeling, I speak up and say that, then I feel guilty somehow. Like,
mm-hmm.
back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, you know, eh, like I don't want to do this. Maybe this is hurting them, or they're getting upset because of me. So, and I feel guilty.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Like you don't want to do something, so you speak up against it, but then you feel guilty about it. Like you're not supposed to feel guilty
Right.
about that. It's some weird feeling that you need to like get rid of. And I mean mostly because you
Mhm.
were expected to be obedient most of your life.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
when you sort of come off as quote unquote disobedient, that's when it causes like this cognitive dissonance in you, or it makes you feel like really guilty and like makes you feel like, oh, I should have just gone along with what they were saying, even though you should not have. You should prioritize yourself.
Exactly. This is very, this was exactly the conversation that I had with my best friend. And even
Mm-hmm.
she pointed it out, like, you were always a very obedient person. And now whenever you're not obedient, people are like, oh, like, what's going on? Why are you
Mm-hmm.
acting this way? And yeah, because it's seen as very out of character for me,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
But you know what? It shouldn't be seen as in character for you to be obedient. Like, I feel like that's when people take advantage of you, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But you know,
I have
it's,
been taken advantage of because
yeah.
of my nature.
I mean, it's kind
Yeah.
of easy to manipulate people pleasers. So, um,
Yeah, and I've definitely gone through a few situations like that.
mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean, if you're comfortable talking about it, we can talk about one particular situation if you have anything in mind.
well, there was this person whom I actually did not know very well,
Mm-hmm.
but let's just call him an acquaintance, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know him very well, but they were also not a total stranger. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of knew this person, and they basically came to me for help
Mm-hmm.
and asked me for some money for
Okay.
some tragic situation they were in. You know, it was an emergency and they needed it really badly.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not mind because I thought, oh, you know what? I am earning right now, and like it's good to help others.
Mm-hmm.
If I say no, then I'm gonna be seen as a miser or something like that.
I
So
mean,
there was that feeling as well.
if I
Mm.
may ask, what was the tragic situation that said person talked about?
By now, there were so many situations. I don't know if this was the first one, but the one that I do remember is that so this person was a teenage parent, let's say. Let's just
Okay.
say they had a child when they were very young,
Okay.
and basically, and that person was not well off, right? So they
Okay.
did not have a
Have
lot
you
of
seen
money.
have you seen this said child?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I know of that child. Like he posts it on his social media and
Okay,
whatever.
okay.
Um, but yeah, basically, he had it was his child's birthday, or it like his child's birthday was coming up, and he
Mm-hmm.
had gone to the market to buy like gifts and cakes and all these stuff, but he lost the money. It like
Oh,
slipped out of his pocket. And he rides a bike, so it's very possible that the
okay.
money could have slipped out, and he had lost it, and he really needed money for his child's birthday. And so there I was, saving the day. And yeah, I did send him some money to buy, his
Okay.
a birthday cake for his child. Um, and that would have been fine, but the thing is, it continued.
Yeah,
After that, it
earlier.
was some other situation. Oh, this
Mm-hmm.
happened. Now I need money for this, and
Mm-hmm.
then it went on, and obviously I don't like asking people for money back
It's
because
a
again,
really
that
awkward
just,
thing,
yeah, I
yeah.
just don't want to be seen as a bad person or as a
Mm-hmm.
greedy person or something like that. And yeah, so that person just took advantage of me for a while. Like it went on for months.
Oh my god, did you
And
get your money back?
yeah, so finally it came to a point where I just couldn't, where I had to confront, I had to take action because by that point, like I had lost a lot of money. It was a
Okay.
huge sum. I don't want to say how much, but it was huge.
I mean,
Like I
yeah, I
had,
can guess.
yeah,
Okay. Jesus.
yeah, and
Okay.
and now even I had realized by this point, like I was, being made a fool, and I needed to stop. And so I actually went to that person's house, and
Okay.
I met his parents, I met his family, and I
Uh-huh.
told them everything.
Oh my
And
god.
that's when I realized that everything had been a lie,
Oh
right?
my god,
Right?
what?
Like, yeah, so even the thing about his child, the birthday thing, it was all a lie.
Oh my
It was all a
god.
lie.
Okay.
Yeah, so from the very get-go, I was, yeah, being taken advantage of.
Uh-huh. Oh
And
my goodness.
again, I felt so bad and I felt guilty for doing that because I was like, he was his, like I said previously, his financial situation was not good, and so his parents financial, oh my god, my English.
It's fine.
So even his family was not very well off. So I felt really guilty for bringing this whole thing up and causing all this drama.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so that happened, and then obviously his parents confronted him, and
Mm-hmm.
they assured me that he would pay it back, that he would become employed, he would get a job, and he would somehow pay me back little by little.
Mm-hmm.
But that never happened. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god, it never happened. You need to
No,
like.
he just disappeared. He just disappeared.
Oh my
Even like he's
god.
low contact with his family, I think, as far as I know. Because now I've like completely stopped talking to that person and his
Okay.
family as well. He's not in touch with them. But the last I heard, I mean, obviously he is in contact with his family, but
Mm-hmm.
it's very few messages. I don't know where he is. I haven't seen that person around. Um,
Oh my
but
god.
yeah, that's
Okay.
just one instance
Did you
where
get back
I was
any
taken advantage
money?
of.
Like, did you get back even just a tiny bit
No,
of money or no money?
n- no,
Oh
none.
my, oh my goodness. This is this is like honestly, this is lands you can file like police complaints on because what the hell? You got scammed all these like
Yes, I
months.
did. And the
The,
thing is, I should have realized that after, the third time or the fourth time that he asked me.
yes, because
But I was
someone.
just, yeah, I just didn't want to come across as a bad person.
Mhm.
Like, it continued for months, like I said. So, for
Mhm.
months.
Okay. So
Yeah.
a lesson for everyone here. Please, if someone has your money, don't hesitate to ask for it back. You're not being a bother. That person is being a bother by not giving you your money back. Okay? Demand for
Yeah.
your
I
money.
feel, I feel like the first instance you can, help. You can help out a friend by
Yes,
lending them money.
like you
But
can help
but
out,
if
right?
they ask a second time without returning the money that they owe you for the first instance, then I think that's a red flag to watch out for.
It is a red flag. Oh my goodness. Okay, everyone be careful with your money, okay? Now, look, I have zero experience with money, but oh my goodness, I just hope like you somehow get like some sort of or that's a person gets some sort of karma for like scamming you,
Oh my
right?
god, that's all I hope for whenever I like cross a temple or any sort of, place of worship. I'm like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
god, please let that person get his karma."
That person is evil, pure evil. Oh my goodness. Okay, I
Yeah,
wish hell upon him. Hell upon him. Not his child though.
right.
I hope his child,
Mm.
I pray for that child because what kind of father is he growing up with? Jesus.
Yeah, and like I said, one of the reasons why this continued for so long was because I did not want to confront him because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a non-confrontational person. Yeah, I just did not want to, have that discussion about,
Mm-hmm.
where's my money? What are you doing with it? Why are you lying to me? So I just wanted to avoid that conversation, that confrontation, and that is why I allowed it to happen for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely a problem.
Oh my god. Well, I guess we've learned some lesson from this episode. Please be careful with your finances. Don't keep on lending money to anyone if they're not returning your money back. Okay, I guess I mean, do you have any final remarks about your situation? Not the money thing, just like generally about your condition because I mean, I feel like right now we're
Mm.
nearing the end of the episode.
Right. So I just want to say that I'm working on myself. I'm trying to,
Mhm.
speak up and speak out
Mhm.
when I want something, or like I
Mm-hmm.
said, when I feel uncomfortable or something like that. And it may not seem like much to most people, but it does take a lot of effort to do even a simple thing like that
Mm-hmm.
for
And
somebody like me.
yeah, and I'm really proud of you for working on yourself for that. That's a great that's great that you're working on yourself, and I think you've learned your lesson
Thank you.
also. What happens when you
Yeah.
become too much of a people pleaser? But
Yes. That was definitely one, incident that pushed me
mm-hmm.
to be more confrontational and to speak up.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and you know what? Thank you so much for coming on our today's episode. Honestly, thank you so much for telling your story. I'm really happy you came to tell your story.
Thank
So,
you for having me.
oh my god, yeah, it was so fun having you. I kind of, the story was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. It is kind
Well,
of
I'm
funny.
glad you can find humor in it.
It is kind of funny. It's not okay. Maybe like
Well, it's a cautionary tale.
yes, it's precautionary. Take it as a learning experience.
Right.
But you know what? Thank you so much for
You know,
being here.
there's this saying that the best lessons are learned from other people's mistake. So listen, I made a mistake, but you guys can learn a lesson from my mistake by listening to my mistake.
Yeah, we
So
can
yeah,
definitely learn a big lesson from your mistake. But
right.
thank you so much for coming on today, Diva. I was really happy to have you. It's really fun having you here. And I think this is the end of today's episode. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Crescent Sound. I hope you enjoyed and continue visiting this channel for more uploads. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to know immediately when I upload, and follow me on Instagram for updates on the coming episode for the Crescent Sound podcast.